Hey guys, welcome to episode number 5 of the Westeros Gazette. We've got, we just got a lot to fucking cover on this episode. Today, we jumped all around Westeros. We got a fan favorite coming back into the fold. Spoilers, it's Gendry. And we've got a lot to cover, so sit back, crack open a cold one, and enjoy the Westeros Gazette episode number 5. Woo! Yeah. Okay. too good a conversation off mic. Too much to discuss. Hello and welcome to the Westeros Gazette, episode number 5. You're right, that's the spin-off of the Hold On To Your Butts podcast. We are now on our 5th episode, reviewing the 5th episode of Season 7 of Game of Thrones. In studio, as always, I am joined by John, Joe, and Seth. We are Bethless and Kendallis tonight. Just the boys. The boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
It's a very nice harmony.
Thanks. Yeah, for nice myself. Harmony. Yeah. Thank you. Is harmonize the plural version of harmony?
Yes.
Probably sure. Harmonies, right?
We've had a long conversations with friends from home about is peni the plural of penis?
Peni?
I'm pretty sure it's just penises.
I don't know, but I would like to think otherwise.
That would suck to have a lisp and have to say penis. I don't even think you can get it out.
And here comes
this is what happens when there's no women in the studio.
Okay, this really went down a weird path. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If you found us, then you know that we are available on your very favorite podcast listening services, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and more. Please subscribe, like us, leave a review. We'd very much appreciate it. Remember that if you subscribe to this show, you get all our shows from the Hold On To Your Butts family of podcasts, all 2 of them. So make sure to subscribe, listen. We'd really appreciate it. So, gang. So, fellas, a relatively slow episode in terms of lack of action, I guess you could say, or lack of battles, which I think we've been spoiled recently in Game of Thrones, all the way back to Battle of the Bastards. We haven't had like a down episode in a long time to really move the plot along. And in the last season, 2 shortened seasons, it's time to get the plot moving. And this episode, to me at least, served to do that in a lot of ways. So I'll turn it over to you guys. How are we going to do it this time, Joe? Are we just going to sort of go by location? I think that's what we talked about. Or
yeah, I have scenes here. I think it's hard because we kind of jump from scene to scene, from place to place, but I can kind of keep us on track if we want to do it that way. The very first scene I think we should talk about right away because it happens very briefly, and it's just Bronn and Jaime together popping out of the water, which was kind of frustrating to me as a fan, and this whole theory of like, where the fuck did everybody else go? They're like all the way across the water on the other side, and how did Dany or Tyrion not see them like get off? But I guess maybe like they maybe the wake of whatever kind of water they were in,
just a vicious undertow,
brought them to the other side of the water. So what do we feel here?
This is, and you've heard me say this almost at least once an episode, this is the TV moment. This is the moment. And I just like opened up with it. It was such like, okay, here's a cliffhanger. Is Jaime going to die? We all knew Jaime wasn't going to die, fine. But to be as blatant as like the first scene in this episode, be like, what happened? Like popping out of the water. Like to me, that just seemed so like contrite and just like so like to the point.
And the fact that nothing happened afterwards, right? Like not that like that Dany and them weren't forethoughtful enough to have surrounded them or pulled them out of the water or like, because they have everybody else.
That's exactly, yes. That's, I couldn't have said, to me it was like the moment that Bronn jumped over the horse, saved him, they both went into the water right in front of Daenerys. Don't you think Daenerys would have been like, hey, get him. That's Jaime. That's Jaime Lannister.
We had so many thoughts last week too about what was going to happen, and then just nothing.
Yeah. So, I don't want to get like too into the other theories that I'm going to say here. Don't let me jump. But I just want to say, like, based on our show last week, we were pretty right about a lot of stuff this week. You know what I mean? So I just want to say bravo us. What I'm saying is we're really smart. And this is why you tune into us.
Amen.
To listen to the Westeros Gazette. John, what do you think of the scene?
I mean, the scene itself was kind of a letdown. But the dialogue between Bronn and Jaime was fantastic.
Always great, right? Always great.
What was it? It was Bronn was like, "No one gets to kill you. I get to kill you."
Yeah, they're such buddies.
Like, but like not. because Bronn basically told Jaime, like, hey, the minute that I think I can't get what I want out of you, I'm gonna fucking murder you.
I will say, Jaime was pretty ungrateful for Bronn saving his life.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, you could have killed me. It's like, dipshit, I just dragged your ass out of the water. You were drowning, so I get it, but I just saved you.
Yeah.
A thank you would have gone quite a far way.
Yeah, really, really ungrateful. The other thing I take away was that, like, Jaime immediately says, I have to kill Cersei, or tell Cersei. He does have to kill Cersei, too, in my opinion. But anyways, yeah, he tells her, or he says straight up, like, I have to go back and tell her immediately what happened here, because we're way out of our league.
It was cool, like, it sort of to bleed back a little bit into episode 4. What I thought was cool about Jaime's heroic moment, the moment that he was going to charge and try to end this war right now, he had a clean shot, sort of. I guess if you could consider a clean shot, like with
out
a
of the
dragon,
way,
like right in the way, like a wounded, pissed off dragon, no less. Anyways, like that moment where he was sprinting at him on the horse, like all I could think about was that scene where Joffrey is telling Jaime, like, oh, look, there's a blank page. Like, what have you done? Like, when he was belittling Jaime and telling him that here's this book of great knights and kingsguards, and all these great things that they did. But look, your page is blank. And Jaime was almost like, fuck, this is my moment. Like, I almost felt like in some ways like a selfish moment for Jaime. And not, I don't think that was intended. And I'm sure that his character is past the point of that, where he's a bit more noble of a character. But for me, it's just this moment of like, I'm going to do this one for me. Yep. I'm going to try to be the hero of this war.
Yeah, and doesn't he say it to Bronn too? He's like, he asked him what the hell he was thinking, and Jaime's like, I was trying to end the war. Yeah. Like in that moment, like that's gonna do it. Yeah. So then we get some action from Tyrion walking through like the ruin and the ash, and you get this feeling like, oh, how could he betray his Lannister brothers, right? And you see the Dothraki picking up the swords and stuff, and then we see fucking massive Drogon on the rock.
Such a good aesthetic.
Dude looks bigger every episode. You know what I mean?
It's great.
It's like
the more people he kills, the bigger he gets. It like feeds his size.
I think that was so satisfying. The when he stops himself when he gets shot with the arrow in the previous episode was super satisfying, and then him on the rock in this episode was so satisfying because you get the massiveness of this beast that they have at their disposal.
And you get the sense too, obviously, that these beasts are smarter than your
Don't
average.
Don't call them beasts. Danny would not be happy about it.
You're right. These dragons, these gorgeous dragons, these sexy dragons. But you get the sense that these things are, obviously smarter than your average house pet. And so, like, as they age, I can remember, like, a scene, just no specific episode or something, but, like, she throws up a piece of meat and the three of them sort of fight over it, and they're real little, and they're, on a boat going somewhere. I don't remember the scene. But now you see her, like, be able to say, like, pinpoint accuracy, these two guys, fucking Dracarys, like, kill them. And then he just does it. Like, it's unbelievable the accuracy with which Daenerys can control these things at this point, or maybe it's just Drogon. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen enough of the other two to really see what
Rhaegar and Viserys.
Rhaegal and Viserys.
Viserys, yeah.
We're gonna get to them, but I think it was also important. Like, so in that scene, you had the Lannister and Tarly forces arrayed in front of her. And they just look like shit because they lost.
Covered in ash, their armor.
Just I couldn't imagine standing
That's just
there.
Disintegrated people just all over
and
them.
then she's like, I'm not here to murder people. Bend the knee and you won't die. And then you watch all, kind of probably the weak men in that entire group. They bend the knee right away. Randall Tarly does not. And then, then you have that really emotional scene between Randall Tarly and Dickon, where he's trying to convince him, like, hey, don't do this.
Don't kill our house.
Don't kill our house, because, Sam is no longer a part of our house, right. Because he took the black. He's not actually a Tarly. Well, he's still a Tarly, but he can't claim that inheritance anymore.
John can legitimize him.
And
we'll get there.
Sorry, jumping.
What's crazy is like that was a moment of less bravery to me out of Dickon and more stupidity. Like you got to be able to protect your house. You got to know, and you could almost see with that nod that Randall Tarly gave him, like when she said bend the knee again, and it cut to Randall, and he almost gave him permission to do it, and he still didn't do it. It's like. Pride really was the enemy there of the Tarlys. Like, you think in this long game war, you got to protect your name, you got to protect your banner, and keep it going.
Could be misconstrued a little bit with honor. Not to take that away. I think they are very honorable. I think obviously you don't know much about Dickon. He's been in all of a couple episodes, but you can get the idea that they at least hold some honorable, I don't know, air about their house and who they are and not jumping. But I think that also broaches the topic, and Tyrion points this out really quickly. He's like, Cersei didn't used to be your queen. Mm-hmm. She was only your queen as of late. In fact, you kind of betrayed your old queen, so your allegiance is a little flexible here. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm behind Cersei. And it's like, all right, come on, man. Like,
but his reasoning was pretty solid, too. I mean, so Daenerys has brought to Westeros all of a sudden the Dothraki and the Unsullied. These are not Westeros people. Like, this is, for all intents and purposes, other than Daenerys and Tyrion, and maybe probably a couple other people, foreign invaders. These are foreign invaders, and that's how they're trying to spin it. This is the PR piece that Cersei has done a really good job of playing. Like, these are the foreign invaders.
Mm-hmm. I also thought in the same episode it was interesting that if you're Team Sam out there and you're rooting for Sam, and I think there's a lot of people that are, and I think his storyline's finally kind of starting to get interesting. But in the same episode that Pride and Honor got his father and his brother killed, he bailed on being a maester because he felt a greater duty. Like, he was able to prove that, like, being aware enough to make the right decision at the right time is more important than pride and honor, and because of that, the Tarly name is going to live on because of Sam.
Even kind of quotes his dad from a previous episode when they first see him, and he's like, I'm tired of reading about the achievements of other men. Right. And he, like, literally just, like, whereas, so Dickon is probably in that scene what Randall Tarly wants him to kind of be like Sam, back off, save the house, be the smart guy. And then you have Sam, who's actually kind of erring in this I don't know, it's kind of feeling that Randall wanted to push from all along for him, but he never followed.
Yeah. So, essentially, their loyalty gets them fucking fired.
Yeah.
Legitimately, by Drogon. And then we see Jaime pass Qyburn in the hall at King's Landing. Jaime walks into Cersei, and immediately she's all business. How many men did we lose? And he says, we haven't done the full counting. We have the Tyrell Gold. We have the Iron Bank behind us. But Jaime says, I just saw the Dothraki fight. I just saw the dragons. We have no chance in this war. And she doesn't really appreciate that very much, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, she doesn't appreciate what Jaime just went through, right? I mean, to have your lover/brother, I mean, two very important things.
And baby daddy.
Yeah, and baby daddy, right? Walk through the door, and there is, like, no sense of, oh my God, are you okay, or what happened. We see again, Jaime is just a fucking chess piece to Cersei at that moment.
She even says it. She's like, you're a military man, you should understand it. And it's like, all right, clearly he should know. He doesn't, but he should know where he stands with her.
Yeah, so the latter part of their conversation then is Jaime disclosing to her that Tyrion didn't kill Joffrey, it was Olenna, by poison. And then he talks about who would you rather have Marjorie married to, Tommen or Joffrey? And that finally gets Cersei to realize maybe it wasn't Tyrion after all. And I think this is a pretty crucial part because obviously Jaime cares a lot about Tyrion. Cersei's kind of completely disrespected him, but she's always cared a lot about family and her children. And I think that this might hit some sort of a heartstring.
And we start to see the pieces coming together for our theory from last week about will there be an armistice to deal with the threat in the north. And what we saw start to happen here, and I think we're jumping scenes a bit, so I apologize.
A little bit, you're getting out of hand here.
But what we're seeing start to happen here is reason enough for Cersei to trust Tyrion. Not a lot, and it's built on very little, but reason enough that she can accept that there is a chance at a subtle piece. But obviously,
it removes that hatred from her mind.
Yeah, and obviously what we have, it sort of like puts the flame out in a way. But what we're starting to see too, though, is Cersei is starting to put the pieces together herself and see the opportunity in all of this, right? And see the opportunity in, is that first discussion. So let me try to back this up so we don't jump ahead a couple of scenes. What Jaime does say to her is, we can't win this. Like, we just can't do it. That was one dragon. and it looked like the Dothraki were hunting us for sport. Like, we can't even compete out there. It's not possible. And she's like, well, what do you think we should do? And you start to see, like, they're grasping at straws to come up with a solution, and one sort of presents itself.